All good. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to the regular board meeting for the Todd County Board of Commissioners. All commissioners are present along with county auditor, treasurer, coordinator, and county attorney. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amendments to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will have amendments. We have add 11 for Sheriff's Department. 11.1 will be Sheriff's purchase a boat with federal grant funds. And we will also amend to remove 10.3.
10.3 would be removed, you said?
Yes, removed.
Okay. Any other amendments to the agenda? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Becker, seconded by Newman. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent items.
Consent items today are just the meeting minute approval for September 6th, 2022.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the consent items. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Kneisel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Warrants.
First item is to approve the commissioner warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $125,568.52.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the commissioner warrants totaling $125,568.52. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Kneisel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Becker. Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Kneisel?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher?
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson?
Yes.
The next item I have then is the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a regular manual payment totaling in the amount of $121,618.85.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the Health and Human Services Commissioner warrants totaling the amount of $121,618.85. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Becker. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel?
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher?
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson?
Yes.
Next item then is the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with an ACH and a regular manual payment totaling in the amount of $67,490.24.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants totaling the amount of $67,490.24. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Kircher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kneisel. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Kircher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson?
Yes.
The last item I have then is the forfeited lands, non-conservation land classification approval for DNR. This was at the last board meeting and failed. A little more background on this. On May 27th, 27 parcels located in Todd County forfeited ownership to the state of Minnesota. Please note that these are owned by the state of Minnesota. They are not owned by Todd County for non-payment of property taxes. Todd County administers the tax forfeited procedures in trust for the state according to the Minnesota statute. According to Minnesota statute 282.01, the county board must classify tax forfeited lands as conservation or non-conservation before the next steps can be taken in the tax forfeiture procedure or the sale preparation. Once classifications are determined, these parcels are then sent to review to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. The DNR is directed by state law to review, authorize, and approve the proposed tax forfeited land sales if the tax forfeited property contains certain features. Of the 27 parcels that forfeited for non-payment of taxes on May 27, 2022, there is one parcel identified as requiring the DNR specific approval. However, the full list of parcels is submitted for DNR's affirmation to release for sale. The county board must classify these parcels and have the DNR review the record to proceed with public sale of these forfeited lands. Failure to complete these steps would result in lost opportunity for public to purchase said parcels and lapse in property tax revenue for the county and related taxing jurisdictions. Your options are to approve the attached resolution, which allows the auditor treasurers to continue preparation for auction sale of parcels, or do not approve the attached resolution, which stops the auditor treasurers from preparation of auction sale of parcels. It is a recommendation to approve the attached resolution for classification of tax forfeited property, requesting approval from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for the sale of the tax forfeited lands.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the tax forfeited properties. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion for number 1 to
Yes,
approve.
number one.
Okay, motion by Kneisel to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Becker. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. You know, the ones that do get tax forfeited that the DNR acquire, how many of them have they put back on the market?
I do not have those stats. Of these 27, there's one, and the Soil and Water Board reviews them and lets us know which ones need to be reviewed by the DNR because they've become conservation land. They're not necessarily entirely lakeshore. They could be back marsh or swampy areas.
Right.
So
Anything to do with water,
they look at it, they review it.
right.
Doesn't mean they always take it. Lots of times they just give it back to us. They don't want to deal with it either.
Because
It's
last,
just part of what's in state statute that we have to follow
Part of the process.
for the process.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes.
if we deny this, then all
All 27.
parcels would be off the sale.
That's correct. They would lay dormant in our county. They could not be sold. They would not generate any revenue. They would not produce any tax.
because I believe there's 2 lake lots on Lake Osakis that the DNR have acquired, and they've been sitting on them for years, and I haven't did any more research on it, but it's like, okay, if they're gonna acquire this and pay us pilt, you know, yeah, I just,
Mr. Chair, if I may. It says the county board must classify these as conservation or non-conservation classification. Is that what we're doing right now?
You're just authorizing the step to be processed to move forward to DNR. Actually, the Soil and Water Board reviews these prior to even coming here.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that deem a classification as conservation or non-conservation. So of the 27 parcels, of course, one sitting in, for example, Long Prairie City, that's just a city block. They're gonna say that's non-conservation.
But the statute says the county board, why is soil and water doing the classification, or
That's
I'm
part
sorry.
of that's part of the steps too, if you read the statute. It's in the resolution. Down here, therefore be it resolved, Minnesota statute 85.012, and then all of those listed, refer to the Todd County Commissioners hereby certify that Soil and Water Conservation Board of the district in which the land is located has reviewed the attached list. So they've reviewed it for you. They've deemed if it's non-forest, marginal land, or wetland, conservation, non-conservation. You're just affirming to this and stating that this one parcel in these 27 could potentially be conservation because it abuts water.
Can I ask where this parcel is?
Yes, it's located in between Bruce Township and 6 is Burnhamville, and it's this particular lot. I do not have the map, but it's
Oh, yeah.
adjoining Bruce Township and Burnhamville Township. It's right on the borderline. I believe she attached a
Well,
map.
it must be maybe in the city of Pillsbury or the,
Let me keep going, maybe there's a map. No, sorry, there's not a map. I don't know where it's at, but it abuts those 2 townships, and that's why we have it highlighted as that one parcel.
So Denise, if we approve this today, we get the bottom portion and the state will acquire the top portion, correct? Is that how it's gonna work? No?
No.
Right?
No. I don't know what you're asking. What we're saying, of these 27 parcels,
Yep,
all we're doing in this is sending it to the state to have them review it.
okay,
That's all we're doing in this. Nobody's getting, you're not attaining anything. The state already owns all of these technically once it forfeits. So we're just the trustees or the keeper of it
right.
until we can have the land forfeit sale. And so these are sitting dormant. We're doing one step of the process. There's many steps to this. This is one step.
Then the state of Minnesota's gotta say, okay, they put their blessing on it.
Right, and then they'll send back to us stating, no, we don't want this, go ahead and proceed with your sale.
Right,
Or we'll attain this one.
But it's just the one out of the
It's just the one
27.
out of the 27.
yeah,
It's the one highlighted here. And this is, it's a combo, that's why I have 2 parcels listed, but it's only one parcel.
because it has
It's
lake
just
shore.
a legal
it's on Little
description.
Swan Lake or Pillsbury Lake, so.
It's just that the legal description runs over in Bruce Township and the legal description runs over in Burnville Township. But it's just one parcel.
And I've traditionally voted against this, since I've been a commissioner, and it's the reason I do is because I don't feel that we need to, ask the state, DNR, if we can forfeit land or not. We're the ones that do all the work all year round, they do nothing, and here we gotta ask for their permission, and I'm not one that likes to ask the state for permission, so.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker,
Yes,
Commissioner Newman,
No,
Commissioner Kircher,
No,
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Public Works. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. For one item on the agenda this morning is a request for final payment authorization for a 2022 HSIP striping contract. The background is we completed a striping contract with Warning Lights Corporation this year to do ground and wet reflective striping on County Roads 12, just east of Long Prairie, 14 east of Barville, and 102 north of Gray Eagle. The work was scheduled and completed this year, so our recommendations, our options are to approve the attached resolution or do not approve the attached resolution. And our recommendation is this time is to approve the attached resolution recommending final payment of $9,833.64.
Okay, you've seen the board action and the resolution for the final payment authorization for the 2022 HSIP striping contract. Looking for a motion.
so moved.
By Kircher, is there a second?
second.
Second by Becker, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chair, could I ask Lauren a question? I came down 71 last week, and it was dark. Have they striped that yet?
We were just up there yesterday and they haven't striped it yet.
That is a danger.
I agree.
I drove that the other night, and you could not if you met a vehicle, you could not hardly tell where there's no fog line at all.
Yeah, especially since they just put a fog seal on it. It's
Yeah.
very black in a dark condition. It's very unsafe.
Could we make some urge to them to get that done? I mean, you talk about this zero death thing,
Yeah,
and they're the ones that are pushing this, the state,
I can,
the federal government, and they've got the worst highway out there.
I can request to our district state aid engineer and the district engineer up at Brainerd just to expedite the striping of
I
that.
could not believe it, because I thought it was
No
terrible.
problem.
So,
I'll send an email.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. County ditch.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have one agenda item. To acknowledge receipt County Ditch 22, hold harmless agreement for ditch maintenance. Background sent for your review. The recommendation is the Todd County Board of Commissioners approves the following by motion. Acting as ditch authority, acknowledge receipt of a hold harmless agreement petition from Kyle Pesta to clean part of County Ditch 22 between parcels 1300-28800 and 1300-28500, Iona Township, Section 30.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the acknowledgement of the hold harmless agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Kneisel. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Newman. Discussion. Got the map up there.
Yep, and he
showing
did
the-
already request the more northern part of the ditch, and now he just wants to do farther down south, so. And it's different landowners, so we had to bring it to the board again.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nancy. Health and Human Services.
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners.
Only one item today.
I know, kind of a light day.
Yeah.
All right, we have one board action form here in front of you to appoint a commissioner or two to the Opioid Settlement Advisory Council. Some background, Todd County Health and Human Services setting up an opioid settlement advisory council to oversee the opioid settlement funds and seeks to have a Todd County commissioners appointed to the council. We did present at the last work session. So we're looking to start this journey, this 18-year journey.
Right, so you're gonna see some turnover of the appointee.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You all look pretty young.
I don't
Thought
have a
it would
quarter.
get
Do you
you
have a
nowhere.
quarter?
Are you thinking one and an alternate is good? I mean, how big a board are you looking at having, or what do you want, or,
10 to 12, maybe,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
one and an alternate makes sense.
I think
Or
that's a
however you
nice,
choose to.
nice
proceed.
effective way from our end of it. It's just nice to have a backup person or whatever the case may be. Anybody stepping up and volunteering, or are you appointing from your end, or?
Oh, we're not appointing, we're asking for volunteers.
I would just start pointing.
That's a long journey.
I'll be happy to take it. I mean,
Okay.
I'll take it as the main one, and somebody can
Thank
do
you.
a backup for it. It'll be fine, so. Any backup?
I know, don't look,
Wait for this.
like sitting around the dinner table.
I'm not gonna be
Don't
here,
make-
so I don't think I should be on it, so.
No, that'd be a bad thing.
I'm up for election, so I might not be here either, so.
I'll go shotgun.
You're gonna go shotgun?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Erickson as, main and Newman as the alternate.
Perfect.
You don't need a motion or nothing like that. You just need basically a confirmation of it. We need a motion? Whoa, wow. Okay,
So moved.
official. Motion by Kircher,
Second.
second by Kneisel. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Administration. Good morning,
morning.
Sarah.
Policies Committee is bringing forward a change to the drug and alcohol testing for commercial drivers policy. This would be part of the personnel policies. And you've read through the policy and talked it out at work session. And your options are to approve the resolution or not approve the resolution, with the recommendation being to approve the attached resolution for adoption to changes to the Todd County drug and alcohol testing for commercial drivers policy.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the change to the drug and alcohol testing for commercial drivers policy. Looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Becker. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Kneisel. Discussion. I thought it was interesting going through it and looking at it. I think we made some good changes.
Yeah.
Some positive wording changes and things like that in there.
Yeah, I agree. The Policies Committee did a nice job on this
Yeah.
one.
Yep. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Planning and zoning. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Commissioners. My first item this morning is the Long Prairie River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan submittal. The Long Prairie River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan has been completed and is ready for review by the Board of Water and Soil Resources. The Policy Committee has conducted the formal 60-day review period and held the public hearing in preparation of the plan submittal. So the options would be to adopt the attached resolution, to approve the submittal to Bowser for review, or do not adopt the attached resolution. The recommendation to adopt the attached resolution and approve the submittal to Bowser for formal review.
Okay, you've seen the board action and the resolution to adopt the Long Prairie River CWMP submittal. Looking for a motion.
So move.
Motion by Becker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kircher. Discussion.
Yes, Adam, at the last meeting, we pretty much went through each comment that was made on it.
Yep.
Any other comments come in after that point?
Nope, there's been nothing else received. We had nobody come to the public hearing itself.
Yeah.
And most other counties have adopted the resolution. The Soil and Water Board locally went through it last meeting, and they didn't have any additional comments either.
Okay, and then the next step after Bowser, we send it to Bowser now?
Yeah, it's a two-step process with Bowser. It'll go to the regional board on October 5th, pending everybody gets this resolution passed, all our partners. If it passes there, it'll go on to the state Bowser board, I think in later October. And after that, we'll have a plan. And in the meantime, we're working on the first work plan and trying to get the wheels in motion to get the money in at the start of the new year. So we'll be off and running in 2023.
Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Now therefore be resolved that the Todd County Board of Supervisors, or should that be commissioners?
That should say commissioners. Which part is that in?
It's in the
The very
resolution,
end.
last paragraph of the resolution.
Yes, I can make that edit.
It's on the.
Because the
there's where it says-
supervisors would be water and soil.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we use template. Every organization in the partnership uses the same template, and I just probably missed that part of it.
Okay,
So that can be edited.
all right, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, secondly is a request to rezone parcel 1400242000. A request to rezone this parcel, which is in Condota Township, was submitted on July 18th by Doug and Lorraine Bolus. The request was to rezone from AF1 to AF2 for the purposes of establishing an additional dwelling site. The request was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the September 1st meeting. The final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to grant the rezone with two conditions. One, that the site is located in an agricultural area, and consequently there will be from time to time the site sounds and smells associated with the operation of farming. No lot owner shall bring action of law against any farming operation because of such farming activities, as long as such farming activities complies with the state, federal, EPA, and Todd County ordinances. And second, that driveway accesses require the approval of the road authority. The option would be to grant the rezone with these two conditions, deny it, or remand it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. The recommendation would be to grant the rezone of parcel 1400242000 from AF1 to AF2 with those two conditions.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the request to rezone the parcel 14-0024200. Looking for a motion.
So move with number one.
Motion by Newman for number 1 to approve with condition.
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kneisel. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Number 11, Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, all.
Morning.
Open that door when you come.
What's that?
You always open that door when you come up here.
Too big a guy, I
Just to
guess.
get out in a hurry, so.
This is kind of a piggyback from last week's, or a couple weeks ago, meeting. The purchase of the new Water Patrol boat accessory grant funded. Background, the Todd County Sheriff's Office would award the grant in an amount of $26,590. The grant funds were used to purchase the following: Black Max Prop lower unit parts, Black Max Prop for a 2022 Lund 1775 Renegade boat with a 90 horsepower motor and trailer. The Sheriff's Office traded in our 2007 Canadian 1850 towards the purchase of the new boat. The Sheriff's Office is seeking approval for the purchase of the 2022 Lund boat in an amount of $23,225. The award grant and quote for the 2022 Lund boat are attached. Options are to approve the purchase of the Lund boat and trailer or do not approve. Obviously, is to approve, we recommend.
Okay, you've seen the board action for the purchase of the new Water Patrol boat and accessories grant funded. Looking for a motion. Motion by Kircher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kneisel. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Standing reports. Auditor Treasurer.
Just that the elections are, absentee voting opens on Friday, the 23rd. And we are recommending that people that would like to vote use the website mnvotes.org. And that will cue you right into filling out your application, which gets sent right to our election portal. And we start the process of making sure the application is legit, and then we send out the ballots to the voter. So that is the smoothest location to vote electronic, or you don't vote electronically, but you get your application, or you can stop up by our office. But I know a lot of the college kids and elderly don't like to go out, so they can use their computer and make their application online, and we will do all the legwork on the backside to get them their ballots delivered to them, and that opens on Friday the 23rd.
Okay. County Attorney.
Nothing really big to report. Things are going well with our new attorney. We're staying plenty busy. We with plenty of job security, I would say. So
Nice. I don't think there's any worries that way, is there?
no, and the various agencies are keeping me personally busy, and it's interesting and I think useful work. So
Good.
All's well.
Awesome. Commissioners' reports. Commissioner Kircher.
No, I think Chris is gonna do a little report for my district, so.
Okay. We'll just come right down the line. Commissioner Becker.
I actually had policy meeting on 9/7 and 9/8. Rainbow Rider, and there we're getting ready to build a new bus garage at Alec. 9/12, we had corrections up in Wadena, which we all took 71, the dark road home. The 13th, we had solid waste design committee here. The 14th, actually, Randy sat in for me for my facility meeting, so thank you, Randy. And the 15th and 16th, we were at AMC, at Arrowwood, and Alec. And I went to transportation. There was a very good discussion on broadband and the new mapping. And I thought it was very interesting because they used Todd County as an example during that discussion because of our mapping here, where it shows that we actually have broadband and we actually do not. And it's a difference between the facilitators that we're having problems with. So I gave him my card and told him to make sure that you get hold of Todd County. We're very interested in making sure our map is correct, the ones that actually have broadband and the ones that do not have broadband. The other thing is we did that survey, and did the results come out on that survey or not? Because that group from Bertha, or, you know, that came in front of the work session, that were working on broadband, and they were going to do that survey online.
Madam Chair, or Mr. Chair, Commissioner Becker, the survey is out there. I'm not sure how much they've actually promoted it to date. I have not seen anything, but the
Oh,
survey
and
has
that's-
actually been out there for a couple of months.
And so just everybody be aware that they are definitely working on the mapping part
I've
of
seen
it.
some in the papers advertising it.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. And then yesterday we had an insurance meeting here.
Commissioner Newman?
I'm just gonna cover, AMC, from last week. I'm on general government, and we discussed CPA. I found it interesting that some of the cities, the local government aid, the cities are getting more money than the counties, some of the counties. So I found that really interesting, and I don't know if it's because they have a little bit more political clout or what, but, AMC staff is gonna start digging into that and finding more results on why, some of the cities are getting more than some of the counties. We discussed tax rates a little bit with Wadena. Housing, again, our group of general government was more concerned about the changeover within the House, down in St. Paul, because we're gonna get new House members. They wanted to know if we knew any of the people that were running. If we did, could we educate them to help us move our agenda along? Another thing we talked about was workforce. A lot of counties are doing stuff outside the box as far as recruiting people into county government. It's really interesting on that end. And like I said, again, a lot of our concern was about the new legislators coming in and making sure that they understand what county program aid is and how they can help benefit the counties. So that's all I got.
Okay. Commissioner Kneisel?
Well, I was at the AMC thing last week in Alec, and I was on the environmental committee, and basically all the stuff that we had last year, we're gonna have to put through because nothing went, nothing went, so. But there's some new things like that new, well, there's taxes that are gonna be put on the counties for their landfills, and, like, the incinerator's gonna get, because we're supposed to be testing for that PSAP stuff, that PFAS stuff, and, which is in everything, so obviously it's gonna be, well, it'll be like $50,000 a test, so it's,
Crazy.
they were gonna try to get the state to pay for that instead of
Right.
counties having to do it. But
Great. Okay. I have nothing to add at this point, so Coordinator?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Commissioner Kircher stated, I did receive a couple of letters from property owners in District 4 and specific to property owners on Long Lake in Bertram. I just have a statement to read to acknowledge those letters, and it's as follows. Todd County Administration acknowledges receipt of letters earlier this month from property owners on Long Lake in Bertram, all expressing concern about a certain house that was moved onto a Long Lake lot approximately 5 years ago. This house, which recently suffered a fire, is not connected to any public utilities. The cleanup efforts on this property have been objectively slow. At the request of these concerned property owners, Todd County Administration is now bringing this matter to the attention of the full Todd County Board of Commissioners. Todd County Administration assures all Todd County residents that our Planning and Zoning Department, in conjunction with the Todd County Attorney, have been working with the appropriate authorities and the property owner to remedy this situation with all deliberate speed. And I have provided each one of you with a copy of the letters that have been received.
I might add, Mr. Chair, I did receive a third letter. I thought Chris might get it too, but it's same boilerplate letter in regards to the same issue. So I might add that we've had a meeting and several of us discussed this. And I did meet with the landowners down there and go through this with them and tell them we had the procedure we had to follow, so.
Thank you very much. Anything else, anyone? Otherwise, I would look for a motion to adjourn for the month of September.
Mr. Chair, could I just, before we do that, does this have to come formally in front of the board then, for us to move on this? Or
Mr.
just
Chair,
this acknowledgement and not?
this is the acknowledgement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wanted it to be brought to our attention, so.
Yep, I think made aware that
Right.
we are aware of it, right, at this point.
I don't know if they, haven't talked to them since they sent the letters, but I think their intent was to just inform the full county board of the issue. Like I said, we've had a meeting, several of us, to talk about our plan of action, and John's been well informed of it. And it's just a matter of next steps that we'll take as far as planning and zoning, and John's working with them on this, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, after this meeting, I will be reaching out to those who have provided letters to let them know that we've addressed it.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else? Otherwise, I would look for a motion to adjourn for the month of September.
Motion to adjourn.
By Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kneisel, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Work session, The work session to order. And first on the list is Todd County Justice Center roof and rooftop discussion. Mitch and crew.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I have with me today engineers from Winseth, Greg and Jeff, and we're just going to give you guys a brief update of where we're at currently on the possible project of the Justice Center roof and rooftops. So first of all, we've been working pretty diligently on this building. There was no real layout, so for the mechanical side of it, so we couldn't see exactly. There was nothing really on a plan that said exactly what was in there. So one thing that we've been doing is doing a lot of research, getting hands dirty, finding where things like VAV boxes and zone dampers and what rooftop or what feeds what, and what is going on exactly. So, we've been doing that for a couple weeks now. We're still not quite done, but we're in a good spot. And then in our last meeting with the facilities meeting, Winseth gave us an estimate, and I'll let them kind of walk through the estimated cost of the roof and the rooftops, and we can go from there. So, Greg, if you want to take it away.
As you're well aware of the project, we're virtually stripping all the rooftop units off of the building, roof insulation, and then building that all back up from the roof deck. So we'll have new insulation, new roofing, and then new rooftop units and new controls when the project's finished. And then we put together just a cost opinion of what we foresee the project cost being. And then just want to highlight just a few of those. We just have, for the roofing piece, it's about 13,000 square feet, roughly. About 300,000 just to put new insulation and new roofing on, and new cap flashing and that sort of thing. And then the mechanical side of things, some of the rooftop, we're cleaning all the ducts within the building, demoing several mechanical items there, and then replacing the rooftop units. And Adam, he couldn't be with us today, but he wanted to highlight just a few things, and one of them was the rooftop replacements, and those were about $52,000 each to replace those, and there's 11 of them, so that number is pretty significant there, and that's just due to material costs as they're increasing, that sort of thing.
And not to interrupt, but one of the things that remember that we're talking about doing is with the RUP unit that currently serves the jail, we're eliminating that. That is part of the focal point and part of the problem that's going on with the roofing material. So by us going back to the rooftops, we'll clean up the roof, make it less likely to leak, those type of things, better access for the future, and an overall better system for us. So that's why currently we have 8 rooftops, and we'll be going to 11. So that's one of the things we're doing in this project, is cleaning a lot of that stuff up as well. So that'll be good going into the future. The other highlight too is I was saying we have no real plan that I can go back to and say this is exactly what's in there. When we redo this, we will have everything laid out. Everything will be on a mapped out and on a schedule, or on a labeled out for us for any future problems that may occur, we may have. So, yeah.
Question?
Absolutely.
Is this both heat and air in these rooms?
Heating and cooling, yes.
Everything is combined with
Yes,
these
everything
11?
is combined in a rooftop or a package unit. They will be capable of doing makeup air, or I should say, a fresh air intake. They will be doing heating and cooling as well. So they'll be doing all of those type of things, which currently we have a little control over, but we'll have better control over after we have them in place. So,
Mr. Chair, could I ask?
Yeah,
a question?
absolutely.
I talked to Mitch about this. We also talked about it at one of our committees on positive airflow rooms. The sheriff's office only has, or jail only has one positive air cell. And is there a plan to increase that from a one positive air to maybe even a cell block positive air?
So I talked with, I had a meeting yesterday, in fact, with our sheriff and the jail administrator, and we kind of went through a couple options. There's two options you can go towards, and they do different things, or they do different things for the individual that you're trying to either quarantine or what have you. So a negative air pressure room is so you can prevent pathogens from going to other cells or those type of things. So, for instance, a COVID case, we could isolate that individual, and then that would be under a negative pressure room. So, when I talked to Steve and to Scott Wright about this, they felt a negative pressure room was more of what it is than a positive pressure, and we will have that in the ADSEG room. And we will make sure that we have that in our bidding process going forward, that room is to be under a negative pressure. I asked if there was an additional need, and it didn't feel like the need was there for additional. They felt that we should keep the room that we do have. But the problem is with any of the thing is, at what point do you stop making it that type of room? If that makes sense. Because if we have one isolation, two isolations, we can probably handle those. But if it gets to 15, because our jail holds what, 59, Steve? 52. So there was a certain tipping point. And in your case, you'd said that you'd maybe had like 5, 6 that you had to over your career. Yeah. So very limited number. So that's why we had felt that keeping that room is a definite need. However, we felt that we don't need to add any additional going forward, if that makes sense.
Makes sense, but it's interesting that you don't want to do that, so.
What's that?
I say with the pandemics that are probably in the future that will happen, it's just that I think if we're going to spend this kind of money, my thought process is if you're going to do it right, don't do it wrong. So that's if this project goes.
Yep.
One negative or positive airflow room, to me, is, I mean, if the sheriff and the jail administrator say that's enough, that's okay, but I always look to the future. If we have another pandemic, which we don't know what it would be, would one cell be sufficient?
The other thing is to kind of couple on that. So like the multiple cells that we have, some of them are only controlled by one system. So, and for instance, like an I cell or an H cell, which is a group holding, those cells are held by one individual unit. So in technical terms, we can isolate them as well. If we do just those, we could do things on the control side of it to help with not spreading those pathogens or what have you.
Well, my thought process was the holding cells. When you're doing booking, you're holding, and you can hold them in there for I don't know how long now with the jail rules, but in the holding cells, which Steve, you have 2,
3,
3 holding cells, and if you have one negative air, whatever, I call it positive air, but if you would make those 3 cells negative air, you'd have 4 cells for a temporary hold on negative air.
Correct.
So, because you're having, with the transients and everything happening now in this world, immigrants coming through, we don't know what they have. I know that tuberculosis is a concern.
So, not to interrupt, but to touch on that, so the holding cells currently are under a different system. They're under the Ballast boiler system, which we can look into adding that as an additional cost. We could add that as a, we could go forward with the potential of our project and add that as an addition for those cells to come off of that Ballast boiler system as. Yep.
Suggestion on my part.
Yep, no, that is something we'll definitely add in there as an option for us to take along with the base bid if we'd like, so. All right, so go ahead, Greg.
Sorry to interrupt you. But
No, you're doing fine, that's fine. Questions are what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of going on with the cost opinion also, we had some electrical connections, about 240. Contingency was about 12%. That's a little bit higher than normal just because we don't know what we're getting into inside the building. And then, just our total is about $2 million for the project, just a little bit over that. But again, don't know until you bid the project what the actual dollar amount's going to be. But this is our opinion of what it's going to come in at.
We've had conversations about this a little bit. 3-4 years ago, the number would have been a lot closer to stable. We still agree that this number is sufficient. Unfortunately, now with the times the way they are, we may be off one way or a little bit. Hopefully, we're a little bit high. That would be great. But that's we're definitely in the ballpark of where we want to be. So. With that being said, I mean, if you want to touch maybe on the timeline, Craig,
Mr.
and
Chair,
see.
could I
Go
ask
ahead.
another
Yeah.
question? Has the facilities committee talked about, I know you're gonna replace that, it's a flat roof currently. Has the facilities committee talked about a pitched roof over that? Was there any discussion on that?
So we've had a little bit of discussion. The problem is with what is up currently on the roof with the amount of rooftops and the ductwork and all of these things that are in place on top of this flat roof. Unfortunately, it's just the cost would be far significantly greater than what it is right now. I agree. Flat roofs in Minnesota are not the best practice. However, the roof that is up there will be sloped to the drains. We will have a better product in the end, so it'll be a lot easier for us to go about fixing problems and dealing with some of the issues we've had. Currently with what's in place is what they call a rock ballast roof, which means it's basically a bladder type system, and the rock is on there to keep basically the roof in place. Now the new system we're going to go to, like we said, we're going to pull the insulation off. We're going to go to a fully adhered system, and it's going to be sloped. With going to the fully adhered, we do not need the rock ballast anymore. So therefore, I can see what the problem is. I can go up there and physically go up there, see, yep, there's a tear here, and patch it more effectively. We can inspect things a lot better to get a better understanding of where we're having issues, if there is any issues. Basically the trend of where everybody's going to with their flat roofs, because they've seen a better quality impact to their facility with it. So, but yes, I don't disagree that if we did have a pitch up there, the problem is, like I said, everything that's up there, it's just at this point it's unfeasible. If it was a new building, I would certainly suggest a slope roof. So,
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
What's the year span of this roof?
The new roof?
Yeah.
Yep.
Typically, in that 25 to 30-year range, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yep.
And most of the warranties, depending on the company and the product, are warranted for anywhere from 15 to 20 years on their warranty as well. So yeah. And the other thing about doing the roof and the rooftops together is we actually get a far better product with the roof itself. It'll be far easier for the roofing company to come in. All the stuff will be removed. They have better access. They can do a better quality job. So coupling together is the smartest way to attack this animal, if that makes sense. So, all right.
So, if I may, are the units set on top of this membrane, or is the membrane laid around the units?
Actually, there'll be a curb, and then the membrane will be up and around that curb, and then the unit will be on top of that.
And then there'll be a flashing in between those as well. The other thing is the curb is supposed to be so high, let's say X number of inches, 6-8 inches above the flat roof. So with that being said, we'll get it far and above that. We'll go to 1 foot or 2 foot. So we're exceeding that minimum distance. So we're gonna have a lot less of a chance of leaks or those type of things. Currently, the rooftops and where they are, the curbs themselves do not actually meet the new code. Back in the mid-90s when that roof was redone, it did meet that code, but they have certainly changed things since the mid-90s. So that's why we'll extend that above the required minimum now, so.
Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, so just a little timeline on where we are. Greg will speak on that, and then just kind of give an update on where we at with those type of things, so.
Okay. As of right now, we are done with our design development piece, and we're just moving into the construction document phase. And I know Jeff and my crew have been working real hard on meeting those dates. And then our construction document phase, we're scheduled to be done the first part of October, and then have our bid opening in middle of November. November 15th is what we have that scheduled for. And then notice of award would be about the 21st of November, and then have the notice to proceed just right before Christmas. And then with the lead time for the rooftop units, it would be April, May, that time frame before they can actually get started on construction.
So just like anything else right now, the lead time is kind of a little bit unknown. It is getting a lot better on the rooftop units. We are seeing about 20 weeks. That's what we're figuring. The goal here is to be hopefully first on somebody's list come springtime. That can be June, it could be May. It all depends on when their timeline. But the sooner we get out for bid and the sooner we get them back, the better chance we have of that. And the project timeline, we should be able to meet a couple months, and we should be pretty much done with this project. But one of the things we added in the professional services at the beginning was we added a commissioning agent. So one of the things they'll do is they'll hold Jeff and Greg accountable on the did you do what you said you were going to do? So did you put the rooftop in that was supposed to meet the required amount of airflow? Does it work how it's supposed to work? So we've kind of tried to dot our I's and cross our T's the best we can going forward, because we know that this project, there's going to be some unforeseens, and getting as close as we can to begin with is important. So is there any questions, concerns, anything else?
I do, Mr. Chair. This is for the sheriff. Steve, is there any cells that are still not open or made available for inmates? Is there any open cells that are not fixed up for inmates?
No.
Okay, so they're all used up. They're all available for use.
Doing our job then.
I was just concerned because
Yeah.
I know at the time we did the original construction, there was one main cell that was not usable, and we had that done while I was there. But if there's any there, I thought we should be making sure we got enough airflow for everything that's in there.
So in our research, and I've reached out to Commissioner Kircher a few times and done some back research on what the problem was originally, and we're going to make sure, regardless of when we're all done, we're going to make sure that everybody's happy with what we did. We're going to do the best of our ability to be. Things have changed so much with rooftops. Originally, there was rooftops that fed it, but now we have variable speed control, variable drives. We have controls options that we have. And back at that time, there wasn't really the options there is now. We're doing a better job of calculating what size the units should be. So those have all factored in. So I'm confident in what we're going to do to make things right and make things better. The other thing is we're also going to clean, like Greg had touched on, we're going to clean all the ductwork down in the jail, which will help us with airflow. We're going to clean all the ductwork in the upper level as well. We are also going to, one thing that had happened in past in the mid-90s was when things went awry, they basically just cut and put back together, and there's ductwork in the ceiling that is unused. There's also wiring that is unused. We're going to clean that up as well. so that there's no miscommunication. When you go up there, you can actually see what you're looking at and those type of things. So, like I said, again, in the end, everything will be on paper. We'll be able to see what we did. We'll be able to look up in the ceiling and say, yes, that's where it is. And for our job and for betterment of the county as well, it's just going to be a much cleaner, more efficient product. So.
Guarantee that the light bill will go down over there?
I'm not guaranteeing anything.
It should be better.
Yeah, it should be. Yes.
Any other questions, concerns? If not, thanks for the update.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time.
County fee schedule.
Before you, we have the 2023 proposal for our county fee schedule. We've talked about this before, when I talked about that we'd be looking at it. Some of the changes or updates that were done to this, just for your review, is the only changes we had that came from the department heads when we requested data from them, asking if they had any changes for this, was the county attorney's office added additional costs for documents compiled and provided. They're obviously having to do some Blu-ray and flash drives that people are requesting, so they added that fee. GIS added some streamlined mapping and data request fees to their category. Public Works, the majority of their fees are based on supply at cost at time of procurement and not set dollar amounts, so that's, if you have questions for that, you'd have to ask Lauren. Environmental Health, two of their changes were only in their base fee for business, is now $180, it was $170. Lodging, their per unit or bedroom is now $10, and it was $8. Those were the only two requests that they asked to increase. Solid waste, I see Mike has joined us. Their garbage haulers, I should probably get in here. Garbage for leased haulers per ton is $139 now, and it was $138. Construction and demo waste, their large quantity is 14 now, and it was 12, and their small quantity is now 16, and it was 14. They increased their roll-off per day, $7.50 where it was $5, and a minimum down payment of $4.50 now, and it was $200. Compost loading fee, if you get a load, one scoop or a scoop by the skid steer is $5 when it was $3. And then planning and zoning added some changes in theirs as well, and that would be for dwelling construction, $12 per 100 square foot, which was $10. Ag construction is $8 per 100 square feet, and it was $7. Commercial construction is $8 per 100 square feet, and it was $7. So just some slight changes. Structural alteration, $50, which was $25, and shoreline alteration is $250 now, where it was $200. And their SSTS inspection review is $300 now, and it was $100. So they upped that $100. Applications for CUP and variances, $500. ATF equals $1,000, and it was previously $425 equaling $1,000. And then they're adding new split line adjustments and combination request. We've been having a lot of that, and we never had a fee for that before, did we, Adam? And so now we're adding a $50 fee for people that come in and want to do splits or combine their property. There's a lot of work in that in a lot of offices, so we've added that $50 fee. But otherwise, I didn't receive anything from any other offices, so they'll stand as status quo they have been in the past. These are the highlighted ones that I talked about in Adam's areas.
So do we have the current and to what they're increased to, so I can make some comparisons? I have a question when you go back, if on the election one, it says $1 per ballot. What is that about?
Let me get back there to the,
It was under election. You gotta go up more.
The auditor treasurer one.
Oh, it's down further. You had election there, it says $1 per ballot. What, if I gotta pay $1 to vote?
No,
oh.
no, it's a setup. It's a setup fee that we charge.
Who do you charge that to?
It says election administrative
Yeah.
fee along with county election.
Who do you charge that to?
So, yeah,
Townships.
schools, anybody that's having something on our ballot.
A ballot is cast in that township, they pay $1 for that? No, what?
One time,
Every ballot generated, so if we order 200 ballots to issue to a particular precinct, that's what the rate is based off of. So that's a portion time for testing, absentee administration by our office, all of that is incorporated. Ballot printing, programming, all of those costs, recouping a portion of those costs.
when we're running an election for a school district, we have our fees that we have to implicate back to them, so it's called an election/administrative set-up fee. So if, like, a school calls a special election, and we do all the work for them, we have to recoup that, so we're charging $1 per ballot for that setup and that processing.
I don't know, I just get a little concerned, guys and gals, about commissioners that, you know, we charge for everything and the taxpayers are paying more and more taxes and we keep charging more and more fees. It just seems like there's nothing free anymore. It's just like, I gotta come in, I gotta pay for this, I gotta pay for that, plus I gotta pay my taxes, so.
This would just go to the school district.
Yeah, I know, but it just gets to be,
Or the city.
where is the end of this stuff? I mean, good Lord. I've never been a big fan of increasing fees. I understand we have a cost to that, but, you know, we collect tax dollars for each department, and that's what each department runs off from, so. I just have an issue with keep raising fees, I don't know. I don't understand this $1 per ballot either. I don't understand why that was ever implemented, but I just think that costs the townships and cities too, and these townships have to levy for that then, so.
Well, we can take it off, but then the general fund's gonna absorb that cost, and that's fine too. But it's very time consuming. Just to test for the primary election, we spent 2.5 weeks, and had part-time help come in and even help, because there's so much testing and rules and regulations that we have to follow. So, I mean, we can absorb that cost, that's fine. I'm just saying that's something that the county has set up. This is nothing new, because of the fees and expense that was being.
So just give me an example. Let's take, West Union, City of, what would they pay for this here?
$70.
Somewhere in the
For
neighborhood.
the number of
70
ballots?
voters, $70.
And then as you get bigger, they're gonna pay more, so.
No matter how you look at it, somebody's gonna pay for it, so.
Yep, one end or the other.
Right, so.
Well, we can analyze the cost in an election and then look to the finance committee next year at taking that off and, putting a budget line item in for that, to circumvent that cost to the school districts, cities, and townships. It's not budgeted for now, so we wouldn't be able to do it now, but
So that's a new fee, right? No?
these are all existing. The
That's been
ones I
on there
read
for,
to
how
you.
long has that one been on there?
Since at least, since I started, so 2008, 7?
I must have missed that one.
These are the only ones that I read out loud where
Yeah.
that changes. Otherwise, these have all been on here. Any other questions, concerns, issues on the fees? And like I said, if we didn't hear from a department, we presume they have no change to their fees.
Okay. Any other
thank you.
questions, concerns? Thank you.
Yes.
Violation assessments.
All right, good morning again. Similar to past years, I have a little staff report here that I share with you to review. I won't go through it word by word, but if you have questions or anything as we move along, or even after this, you want to talk about individual properties, I'd be happy to do that. The first bundle here as we go through them are all past ones that have been assessed previous years. I noted in the conclusion section of where they're at in the violation process. This first one, Tim Forcier, this would be the 4th year of violation assessment. We made a site visit there on September 7th to check things out. It continues to get a little bit better, but I can't say that you couldn't say that everything's been cleaned up. Again, this is a public nuisance violation. The front yard's been organized, but there's still some stuff in the back that meets that definition of a public nuisance. Moving along. August Langseth. Again, I noted which commissioner district each of these are in also, so you'd know if it relates into your district. We made a site visit on this one yesterday. This would be the 3rd year for the violation assessment. So we have some updated photos in there. The color version's on the screen. This one, actually, I believe, yes, this one just changed ownership also. We just discovered this a couple weeks ago as we were preparing to send notices again, so that new owner has been notified of the violation. The reality is when you buy a property, you're buying whatever the previous owner did also, but I suspect and hope that with new ownership, we may have some action on this one soon, and maybe this is one we can remove from the assessment towards the end of the year.
If the property was sold and we had an assessment on it, is the assessment paid?
The assessment at the time of closing would have to be paid.
Have to be paid, right? So you're gonna start over from 0.
Well, paying, yeah, so it's paid up, but the amount that gets assessed would still stay in line. So if it was, this one is the 3rd year, so it'll be a $3,000 assessment. It's related to the property, not the property owner.
Okay.
So this will be, if you guys choose to assess this particular one, this would be a $3,000 assessment for 2023. Moving along here, David Larson, I was out there yesterday. Again, no significant change. Had some contact with him over the years, never was able to actually connect with him. I understand the landowner is in the nursing home out of the area now. It's kind of a unique situation, but this one's been a significant issue for quite a while. So there's updated photos from yesterday on that one. Jeffrey and Christine Coleman, this is in Round Prairie, the old dance hall. They put a fence up a couple years ago and then have done nothing else since. It's just continues to get worse and worse. We had some contact with them very early a couple years ago when we started this assessment process, and then nothing since. And we went there yesterday and took some updated photos. You can see those in the staff report. William and Marsha Owen, this one's up towards Staples. Significant amount of public nuisance items, including discarded buildings, trash, vehicles, four-wheelers, whatever else. We did get to this one yesterday again also, so there's a couple updated photos. We had contact with them initially, and they made a claim that they cleaned everything up or were starting to, so we followed up as we should and found that there was nothing done. And there continues to be no contact and no effort to clean things up.
Is this up by Staples?
Yes. Yep. Just kind of, I think, south and west of Staples.
Yes.
Yep. This next one, Harold Harcum. This one would be just east of Staples. Smaller property, lots of older vehicles and junk and just all kinds of items. You can see it right off of Highway 10. There's been no contact with them, and no efforts really at all to make any progress here. And we got to this one yesterday also and confirmed that things are still in that same condition. Mary Ann and Steve Gerving, we have had some contact on this one. They had quite a bit of true trash, as you can see in that aerial image there on the screen. We worked with them to get things cleaned up, and all they did is go out there and push it into that garage. And there's no garage doors. There's nothing to even screen it. It didn't really solve the issue other than pile it up in a heap inside the garage. The house there has broken windows. What's that?
Is this the one in Philbrook?
Yes. Yep. And so there really wasn't anything actually cleaned up. It was all kind of swept under the rug type of scenario. I worked with Health and Human Services on this one. The sheriff's office had complaints on it. But really things have been pushed around, but nothing cleaned up. And we got to this one, and it was the same condition at the start of September. And lastly, this is Linda Jean Hansen. This one is an old septic tank that was falling in and needed to be pumped and properly abandoned, and that's never been done. They tried to just fill it in themselves, and never really all we need from them is to work with the contractor and button this thing up, and it's never been done. I don't know what the story is, but I haven't been able to have any contact with them recently. No photos with that one. You can't really see anything. We've made many site visits to that site over the years. So that's all the ones from previous years that we would be up for assessment potentially again. I wanted to note that at the end of the year when the assessments were placed, we sent notification right away saying you're going to be assessed for this. That does not mean your violation is resolved. You still need to resolve it. So they get that notice, and we still send another notice later in the year that you still are in violation, and try to continue to push them in that direction and not try to create any scenario where they can't claim they weren't notified. So they have got those additional notices. Let me get back on track here. For 2022, we only have 2 new ones potentially right now. We started this year, I think we tried to get some corrective actions on like 12 or 14 of them, and we've got it narrowed down to 2. We've had pretty good success zeroing in on cleaning some up. Some of them have just made some progress and still need to make more progress, but there was no need to bring these to you guys because we have good communication and are getting some progress done. So we narrowed it down to just these 2. First one, Gideon and Schwartzentruber. This is for failure to obtain permits for structures, and one of those things was a dwelling, and they had no septic treatment for the site. They have been in contact. I met with them yesterday. We have plans to meet on Monday again. They're going to hopefully get a septic contractor out there to put a design together. I wanted to bring this to your attention, but I hope that even by the commissioners meeting, that first meeting in October, we'll have an update that this has a path towards resolution. Certainly before the end of the year, I hope to. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because up until yesterday, we really hadn't had much contact with resolving this one. So hopefully this one will be removed and we'll have it narrowed down to just one, which is the Marvin Drynup property just outside of Browerville. There's yes.
They pass that over. It's not District 1.
Oh,
It's my district.
okay.
Yeah.
District 4. I'll make that correction. I apologize for that.
Thanks, Barb.
So you guys might be aware of this one because there's been a long history of conditional uses granted to this property and then revoked, and now there is no conditional use because the last item I believe was in 2016 where the conditional use permit was pulled from the property. So it appears to me that there's still a business operating there. And recently there was a house fire. They dismantled the house and then left the heap of stuff there. There is tons and tons and tons of stuff across that whole property. Part of it's in shoreline zoning. Part of it is in commercial, but the Long Prairie River basically runs right on the edge of the property. It's a significant safety issue, environmental issue, and it's been that way for a long time. I have had probably 3 or 4 conversations with Marvin in the office this year. Every time I stop to talk to him, he's not around. Mike was going to come with me and talk with him about options for cleaning things up, where he can go with stuff. And then the time we had lined up, he ended up not being able to meet recently. So although we've had conversations, there's been no progress. And it appears to me, if you go by there once a month, there's more stuff sitting out by the road. We'll continue to work with him and try to see if we can find some progress somewhere, and hope that we can get it cleaned up. At least he's willing to have conversations. The willingness to make progress is another thing. Those are all the ones I have for this year, and I'd be happy to answer questions right now, or if you want to take some time to review, we can meet individually and talk about any individual ones. Also, the plan would be to bring each of these to the first meeting in October. I don't know when that is. To do that initial assessment, typically what we've done is tentatively place it with that opportunity to resolve it before the end of the year. I'll set things up in that same fashion. Any questions?
I just have one for the county attorney. What can we continue to do? I mean, if they're gonna not abide by busting, what do we do?
Debate and assess. I mean, that's the tool that we have.
Yep.
I mean, if, eventually, someone's gonna pay for it. And we've had situations with absentee landowners, and we'd hope that that would get their attention by saying, hey, the tenant you have is maintaining a nuisance here. Do something about it, or you're gonna have to pay for it, and oftentimes don't even respond. So that's the strategy. I mean, if it's, that's the strategy.
Keep asking.
Yeah.
I would really, that's a great question. I appreciate that question. I'd like to talk about that at a future work session too, because we have a ton of them here that just continue to not make progress, and all we're doing is charging them a fee, where maybe we take a different avenue on some of these other things. I'd love to find other options to do that. So maybe that's another topic later this year.
Yes.
So are the assessments made to each year's taxes? And are they up to date on their taxes? Because their taxes have got to be getting, so within 3 years, they'll come up for forfeit.
Right. And then it comes to the county anyway. I can't say which of these have not had their taxes paid up to date, but I know some of them have not. Some of them are 2-3 years behind. So
Eventually, we'll see them.
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe the state will want them.
Yeah.
Give it to the DNR, yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep. Thank you. And again, reach out with any questions. Otherwise, we'll be back in October. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
And county property tax disparity. Commissioner Becker?
Yeah, I think that Denise and maybe Jolene and Chris will have some conversations. I've talked to you. I think you had some conversation even at AMC about tax disparity.
Mr. Chair,
I gotta bring this.
Commissioner Becker asked to have this topic on the work session to talk about what Wadena County has submitted to a couple of our smaller counties, such as Todd County, in a tax disparity. And what this would look at is how counties are taxed across, how counties apply tax across the state of Minnesota, and the disparity that exists between the small counties and the larger counties. Since everybody is treated the same, Wadena County is trying to make a statement that we should not all be treated the same. So that's kind of the gist of the letter that I believe every one of you has received from Wadena County. This was a topic that was brought up at the AMC Fall Policy Conference, and I believe it was discussed specifically in the General Government Policy Committee, which Commissioner Newman sits on that, and I don't know if he potentially would want to shed a little bit of light just on the discussion that you had there.
Well, basically, Grant County has been really pushing on the CPA. Wadena County is pushing the tax disparity part of it. What they're trying to do is get both groups together and then try to figure out a solution. It's hard because Wadena County is struggling right now. some of the western counties, they're starting to struggle. So basically, AMC is gonna start doing some more research, and we're gonna discuss this more in the December meeting. Because right now, they're just trying to get all the information together. And again, like I brought up earlier, they're trying to figure out why the LGA, the cities, are getting more money than the counties. Okay? As far as the valuations go, again, it goes back to the state. Now, we have 42 different House members coming up with this election. Okay, how many of these are gonna actually know what's going on? So that's kind of where we're at.
So along with the letter that was sent from Wadena County, they also provided a table of where everybody's tax rate is and the net tax capacity. And Wadena County shows that they are number 4 on the highest rate, tax rate. Todd County shows at number 10 on that list, 10 from the bottom. So they really wanted to point this out to those counties that have that higher tax rate assigned to them. The letter also included some sample formulas that could be used for counties to look at a tax disparity. And I'm going to lean on the auditor's office on this question, but there is, with the letter, they also included that if you were going to actually file a tax disparity, there's a different deadline then for the submission of the final levy. Denise, is that,
Right.
I think it's November 30th.
We compiled some information to bring along just for educational purpose. The summary of disparity reduction aid, known as DRA from the Department of Revenue, is just the initial rate less DRA divided into tax capacity to give you your local rate. And this can't fall below 90%. If you wanted to apply, like she was referring to, adjusting your certified, you would need to change that by between July 1st and June 30th of the year. And just so you know, we get served these in end of August. Actually, I just printed it out yesterday. This happens to be Todd County's apportionment. And what happens is this county DRA amount, this, when I'm calculating the tax capacity rates for taxes, is taken, the school district amount is taken off to change the rates. So back up into that first category where it actually explains what it is, it's disparity reduction aid reduces the net tax capacity base tax rates only. And what it's doing is it's making sure that the unique taxing district isn't being taxed at a higher rate. And that's what it was brought into play with back years ago when they developed this. But Bill Stern's information is very viable. He makes really good argumentation and showing, if you looked at his letter, if you just look at a house that's valued at $250,000 and a tax burden, in Dakota County, they pay $535 in tax. In Wadena County, they're paying $1,900. And so, like Randy said, AMC and Board of Commissioners, all these entities they need to work together at working with legislature to change these formulas and how they process this. Because somebody developed this and we just have to implement it. Mm-hmm. And it's not right. It's a scenario of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because we're seeing that in our little counties where a tax base of a house at $50,000, what they pay down in the cities for taxes versus here. So he has, his letter that he stated, and I know he's had this letter before. I don't know if he's making, I haven't personally visited with Bill, but I don't know if he's making any headway when he produces this down at AMC or to the legislatures, but,
I think he had brought this forward about maybe 3-4 years ago, the same issue, and it kind of just died and went away. But now maybe he maybe will have a little impact on it, but he usually brings it to MRC and discuss with us, and tries to get lobbying to go forward to try and get this changed a little bit. But in reality, I think sometimes it could hurt some of us if it's done the way he wants to do it, and it could help somebody, but it could hurt somewhat, so. That's the issue, is who gets hurt and who gets helped,
Right.
so.
So we get served this DRA amounts, and we implement them into our tax calculation to offset the dollar amounts for these individual school districts. And unique taxing district would be a school district, and then you'll also see if it's like one down here is a watershed district or a debt district. So every little entity gets broke down. These are the dollars we get, and unfortunately for Todd County, we're only getting, if I get to the bottom of the line, county, 72,000, and that's what we received last year. And we receive that twice a year in a payment, approximately August, September-ish, we'll get a fall payment, and then end of the year, we'll get a payment for a year-end payment, roughly about 36,000. And then that 36,000 is split out and paid by levy lines to all the main categories. So everybody's getting their little piece of the pie, to say. I guess that's about all I can educate you on.
So, Mr. Chair, Travis County brought up a good point. One of the commissioners has been in office for 10 years, and I could probably go back and look at the same thing with Todd, but when he first got in, their budget was $2 million. Today, it's $6 million. Their county program aid has not really changed, and in fact, it probably went down in the last 10 years. So the county program aid is not keeping up with inflation. It is just stagnant, okay? And he kept bringing up the fact that the state of Minnesota is sitting on, they figure probably now a $12 billion surplus. What the hell are they doing with it? And I have to agree with them that the counties in outer state Minnesota, we're struggling. The metro area, they have a supreme tax base compared to us. Whether it's commercial, residential, I mean, they just have a larger tax base. And when you get out in the rural areas and your population is decreasing, you don't have that pool of funding to go after. So that's what I think they're really pushing down at the state level, is they need to address this stuff because it's not keeping up with inflation. And I bet our budget has went up since I've been in 10 years, probably 8 million, 9 million. So I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers. But
Mr. Chair, I think the work that AMC has been doing to try to change the CPA allocations, they've pushed really hard and made a lot of progress this year specifically. It's just unfortunate that
nothing got
was
done.
Right.
So.
Well, Randy, at MRC, we continue to discuss outstate versus metro. And we discuss that at length sometimes about our votes are not strong enough outstate to overrule the metro area. So that's an issue, and that's why we're trying to get more counties to join MRC, so we have a bigger impact as rural counties at the legislative level. As you well know, we're outrepresented by the metro people, and so we're outvoted.
Right.
That's the issue with a lot of this stuff that comes to a light that needs to be decided, and the rural vote really doesn't exceed the metro vote, so we're kind of, for a lack of a better word, we're screwed. So it's just something we have to work on a little more to get more rural votes and try and get more metro people to support us out here in the rural area, because we don't have the votes in a lot of issues. So.
We see that as well with MCCC in our programming for our tax programs. We'll go to the meetings and we'll all voice our opinion, but when it comes to the vote, the programming goes to however the big metro areas want it to be done, even though it's not suitable for our area. So we battle the same thing.
No, I'm fine. I just wanted to bring it up for
Yep,
discussion.
very good.
Whatever, thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else on the work session agenda, we will